Nearly 10,000 passengers board an Amtrak train each year at the Fort Edward train station. These trains leave Fort Edward heading north to Montreal, south to New York City, and east to Rutland, Vermont, with more than 24 stops in between. The station has a long history, and in many ways, the history of the Fort Edward train station is the history of the Delaware and Hudson Canal Company. In 1828, the company began shipping coal between eastern Pennsylvania and the Hudson River via its lengthy canal system, facilitating trade all throughout the Northeast. Starting in 1864, the Delaware and Hudson Canal Company began building or acquiring rail lines to supplement its canals. As the technological supremacy of shipping by canal was challenged by the advent of the locomotive, it was clear that the future was in the steam engine, not the barge. In 1899, the Delaware and Hudson Canal Company ceased operation of its last canal and changed its name to become simply the Delaware and Hudson Company. Prior to the arrival of D&H, as the Delaware and Hudson Company would more commonly come to be known, there were two previous depots on the site of the current Fort Edward train station. These depots serve as freight trains running along lines owned by multiple small railroad companies heading north to Whitehall, east to Vermont, and south to Albany as far back as 1848. In 1899, D&H acquired these lines, and in 1900, the train station that currently stands on the corner of East Street and Wing Street was built. The same year, passengers began to utilize the new station to travel between several stops spanning from New York City to Rutland. Starting in 1923, the day train Laurentian and the overnight train Montreal Limited ran between New York City and Montreal, for the first time providing passenger train service between the two major cities. These trains ran continuously until 1971, when D&H ceased all passenger service on this line. No passenger trains ran between Albany and Montreal from 1971 to 1974, at which point Amtrak took over operation of the line from the Delaware and Hudson Company. On August 6, 1974, Amtrak began operation of the day train the Adirondack, once again providing passenger train travel between New York City and Montreal through Fort Edward. The return of train travel through Fort Edward was met with excitement, and spawned a new era of enthusiasm for the station and the people that passed through. If you stepped on or off an Amtrak train in Fort Edward in the 70s, you likely saw Pat Durkee. Pat greeted each train and its passengers for many years, helping them board and documenting many of the interesting people that passed through the town. Later, John Ford would continue this role. Amtrak even gave permission for the crew of the Adirondack to throw a trackside birthday party for John during their normal stop at the Fort Edward station, cake and all. The Fort Edward station remains a vital part of train travel in the Northeast, and in December 1996, the Ethan Allen Express began service from New York City to Rutland, Vermont, with Fort Edward being the last stop in New York before continuing northeast into Vermont. Over the past decade, train travel has seen another resurgence in popularity, ensuring the station at Fort Edward will continue to serve passengers for years to come.